The White House says it is creating a new task force to focus on artificial intelligence. According to the administration, the new Select Committee on Artificial Intelligence will focus on creating a, quote, America First approach to promoting the technology. The task force was announced during a meeting held at the White House Thursday. On the guest list for that meeting were government leaders as well as executives from tech companies like Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, and Google. Also included were non-tech businesses like Ford, Walmart, and Bank of America. For more on this, I want to bring in Ian Sherr. He's the executive editor of CNET News, and he joins me now from San Francisco. So, Ian, why is the White House paying attention to artificial intelligence now? And considering where the technology is the White House playing catch-up?
So we are there's this perception that on a policy scale, we are playing a little catch up. Look, artificial intelligence is really the thing of the tech industry right now. If you listened to Google and to Facebook and to Microsoft over the last 2 weeks, they had these big developer conferences in Silicon Valley and in Seattle. They were all talking about artificial intelligence. Google showed off this AI that can make phone calls for you and reserve a table, and it sounds like it's human. You had Facebook using artificial intelligence to go after bad stuff on its service and also to organize all of your photos for you. And then Microsoft wants to use AI to help people with disabilities. And it's just the cat's pajamas right now. And so the government is really starting to realize, oh, we need to talk about this and take it seriously. And the existential threat of it is huge. It could remake a lot of how the tech industry works. And all of the tech industry realizes this, and I think the White House does now too.
Well, what are some of the factors the government needs to consider when you talk about AI?
The word is ethics. This is one of the most interesting conversations. I'll bring up, for example, during the Google example, they had this amazing ability for this thing to call restaurants and call a hair salon, make appointments, have banter back and forth with the person. It sounds eerily human. You should listen on CNET. We have a recording.
Yeah, we heard it. We played it here on CBSN. She uses, well, I say she. The bot has an and and the inflection sounds so uncannily human.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? And so the question is, well, what is Google's responsibility to tell us when that's a human or a robot, right? And everybody else's responsibility, too, because let's not pretend it's only Google. And so those are a lot of the things popping up. I mean, you can see how this stuff could be used not just to help me get an appointment, which would be great, and maybe help me reduce my Comcast bill, but also, imagine it being used in politics, right? Not just to harass congressmen and get them to vote a certain way, but also to inform the public. And so that is where a lot of the ethics conversations are starting to happen. We were really behind the ball on stuff like how the Russian interference with social media, and AI is the next possible venue for this, and having these conversations now is really important.
Yeah, it seems like there is no end to the questions when it comes to ethics. But how do the steps the U.S. is taking compare with those of other countries?
So a lot of other countries were very quick to this ball. I'll, for example, bring up China. They've been talking about this for a long time. They have been in this supercomputer race with the rest of the world, trying to have the most capable computers, trying to get ahead of us with AI, partially because they have such a large population. You're talking over 1 billion people. And one of the ways that you can help manage all of that stuff, and the amount of information, the amount of services, everything they need, is through AI. So they have a need that's almost bigger than ours for that stuff. There's also, a lot of other countries who've seen this as a possibility to kickstart their economies, to help them manage their economies. AI has a lot of possibility where it can help things, and just as the example, right, Microsoft helping people with disabilities. So there's all these types of things that can be done, and a lot of countries have been seeing this and going after it pretty strong already.
Well, switching topics, House Democrats Thursday released more than 3,000 ads they say showed Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. How did these ads target social media users?
They looked for the most divisive issues that we have. That means stuff like backing police or the Second Amendment. And what they would do is they created these pages, and we have a few of them on CNET, where they sounded very, innocuous and what you would expect out of someone from the United States, right? Supporting our police or all of this type of stuff. And people would join it, and then they would feed all of the people who liked that page all sorts of posts that now we've heard about, right? That are either not telling the truth or trying to exacerbate the politics already in our country, free and making the divisiveness even worse. And so that's how they were able to do this. And we're talking about millions of people who were caught up in this, and they had no idea.
Well, so the ads were cheap, easy, and effective. Is there a way to prevent this from happening in future elections? And have lawmakers said what steps they might take?
So lawmakers, unfortunately, have not been able to offer a lot of ideas. We saw when Zuckerberg was on Capitol Hill, Zuckerberg, Facebook CEO, we heard Lindsey Graham asking him to come and help write legislation. We heard most of the ideas coming out from those hearings, mirroring what the Europeans are doing, not coming up with our own ideas. And so that is one thing that is worrying on some level for some people and made Wall Street very happy. We saw Facebook stock jump after that whole thing. But, the question is, what can we do? It's really hard. Look, we're talking about a network with more than 2 billion people using it every month, more than 1 billion people using it every day, and you've got just so much activity. It's hard to tell when someone's doing bad. Facebook is telling people that they have to register to be able to file political ads, but a lot of these things are pages. They're free, and people just join them because they find them, and then they tell their friends to join them, and suddenly you've got this going. And so that's part of the problem here is that, yes, they're figuring out the ad stuff. Yes, they're using artificial intelligence to identify some of the bad stuff out there. But I think that this is not going to go away.
Well, how are social media networks like Facebook reacting to the release of these ads?
Right now, they are trying to focus as much as they can on finding solutions and also calming all of us down and making us feel like they're on it. Mark Zuckerberg spent more than half of, or little less than half of his keynote presentation during his developer conference last week talking about how Facebook was working to make sure these issues don't pop up again. And look, they are doing a lot. You have to give them credit there. But, is this a silver bullet? Is the problem solved? Not by a long shot.
Well, we are at this whole new frontier, it seems, in the technological world. Ian Sherr in San Francisco. Ian, thank you.
My pleasure.